Hey, I'm Michelle with Michelle Loves Books. Welcome back to my channel. Today I went to a local bookstore, used buy sell trade bookstore. And I went today because they were having a huge sale trying to clear out their warehouse so you could fill a bag for $5. And you can see what books I got for $5. So I'm just gonna start picking from the top. They're in no specific order. I found a copy of Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451. This is probably one of the most beat up books because the cover's torn just a little bit. The next one I picked up is The Prince by Niccolo Machiavelli. Found a couple of books for my kids. One of them is Middle School is the Worst Years of My Life by James Patterson. My son is not in middle school until next year, and he's still not up to reading books that are this thick. I don't know what it is. He's like intimidated by so many pages. Even if a lot of them have lots of pictures, we're trying to get over that. But anyways, I think that this would be a really good book for him as he's entering into middle school or before he gets there. I would actually really like to read this book with him. This one I was really excited to find because my son was specifically, my other son, my youngest son Aaron, was specifically asking me for this book. So we have The Strange Case of Origami Yoda by Tom Engelberger. These are so cute. I thought that they were like books on how to do origami, which I thought that there's no way my kids are not going to do that. But it turns out that it's a real story. It's kind of written on different, see, it looks like a diary. It kind of looks like Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And then there's like different pages like this. Yeah, so I mean, it's like a regular old chapter book. Okay, honestly, I didn't know I stuck this one in there. I don't even know what it's about. This one might be going back to the store. What the hell is this? Yeah, I don't even know what this is. I must have been holding on to it because I recognized the name, Rousseau. It's called The Social Contract by Jean-Jacques Rousseau. I guess I'm saying that correctly. Yeah, I did not mean to get this book. Or maybe something's telling me I need to like read this book. But it's very political. It's about restructuring society. This book was first published in 1762. Rousseau argues instead of a pact of social contracts that should exist between all the citizens of the state, and that should be the source of sovereign power. Totalitarianism and stuff like that. So I don't know. I mean, it's really small. Maybe I will actually pick it up, or it's going to end up in the pile to go back to the store. So I did not mean to get that one. Next up is another one for my kids. I was holding that way out there, not even in the frame. Next up is another Star Wars book called Secrets of the Jedi from the Republic to the Clone Wars. This one's mostly for my son Michael. He's really into Star Wars. Next up, I found this really pretty hardback edition of The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne. All I know is it's classic. I honestly don't know a whole lot about it. I know that it's referenced to a lot, and I think that's kind of making me curious to read it, just so that I can pick up on some of those references. Also, it's nice it's a little small book. Here's another book I picked up because of a girl I met in the library. I actually probably should have mentioned that before. Anyways, this was one of the coolest times I've gone to a bookstore. I got there at opening because I wanted to be the first to get the first pick on the shelves. I figured a lot of people would be, and it was me and this other girl that walked in at the same time. I thought she was about my age, but she's actually like younger. Quite a bit younger. We just like started talking about books as soon as we got in there, so it was really fun to be picking over books and talking to somebody else about what kind of books they like to read. And I think we were both kind of keeping our eyes out for each other. I said something like, I like fantasy, and so she found something that was like Final Fantasy thing. And she's here's Final Fantasy. What do you think about that? And then I found a book that I found like the first in the selection series. So I'd asked if she read those books, if she wanted that one. So it was really, really fun going back and forth with her. I shared my YouTube channel with her. So hopefully I do see her around. The Dark Witch, book 1 of the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy, and it's about, anyways, it takes place in Ireland. The main character is new there. There's like this luxurious castle nearby. The love interest is a cowboy, pirate, wild tribal horseman, and 3 of her biggest fantasy weaknesses all in one big bold package. She realizes that she can make a home for herself and live her life as she wants. But nothing is as it seems, and ancient evil has wound its way around Iona's family tree and must be defeated. Family and friends will fight with each other and for each other to keep the promise of hope and love alive. Yeah, we're gonna give it a try. And also, I just really think that's a pretty cover. And like the pages are those pages that are like uneven and like they look like an old book or something. I don't know. I always have a weakness for when they do pages like that. This one I picked up. I was so excited to see it because my grandma has always been saying like French girls aren't fat and like why French girls are skinny and stuff like, I don't know. Anyways, so I was really excited to find this one. It's called French Women Don't Get Fat, A Secret of Eating for Pleasure by Marielle. I'm sure that's a French last name. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm sorry. So I'm not even gonna try to butcher it. Actually, I didn't even read the synopsis. I would love to see like more about the culture. That's what really intrigues me about this book. Next up is Catch-22. I picked this one up. I've actually been wanting to pick this one up for a little while now. An old friend had given this to me years ago, and then when we kind of went our separate ways, I had given it back to him and I'd never read it. Honestly, at the time, there was no way this was an interesting book to me, and I'm still not 100% sure I'm going to be able to get into it. The thing that I really wanted to try to give this book another shot for is, it says that it's one of the funniest books ever written, keystone work in American literature, and I guess this book was so notorious that that's where we get the phrase Catch-22 from, so that's what is propelling me to read this book. Next up is the 3rd book in the Spiderwick Chronicles. Unfortunately, my kids have absolutely no interest in reading these books. I've heard nothing but wonderful things from people who grew up with the books. I really want to read them, but I didn't grow up with them, so I don't know if they're going to be a little too hard for me to get into, but maybe one day my kids will actually get into reading these books. They're just so stinking cute. I love the illustrations. I love the like torn pages again. Look at that. That is just, it's just so cute. Another one I went ahead and tossed in the bag was the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Powerful Lessons in Personal Change by Stephen R. Covey. I'm not really into self-help books, but I don't know, I just want to try it. This one is called The Alchemist, and originally I love anything like magic-y and stuff like that, so that was the primary reason I picked up the book. The reason it went ahead and went in the bag is because it says that it's an enchanting novel has inspired a devoted following around the world. This story is dazzling in its powerful simplicity and inspiring wisdom. Isn't about an Andalusian shepherd boy named Santiago who travels from his homeland in Spain to Egyptian desert in search of treasure buried in the pyramids. Along the way, he meets a gypsy woman, a man who calls himself king, and an alchemist, all of whom point Santiago in the direction of his quest. No one knows what the treasure is, or if Santiago will be able to surmount the obstacles along the way. But what starts out as a journey to find worldly goods turns into discovery of the treasure found within. So it sounds like a fun like adventure that's really sweet and has a lot of culture and meeting strangers and like seeing how they interact. I also got the Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have never read these books. I had the whole set. I'd been holding on to them forever, intending to read them, and then I just wasn't interested in reading them, so I got rid of them, and now I want them again. So that's really frustrating, and that's another reason why it's excellent to get super, super cheap books, because if you don't read them, you don't feel that bad about it. So yes, I got this book, and I'm planning on reading it again. And the last book that was in the bag is this Bind Up The Summer I Turned Pretty Trilogy by Jenny Han. And I'm just really intrigued by it, and this is a bind-up. It's got like 3 books in one. So I don't really know anything about these books. It might have been a mistake to get these books. I'm just actually really intrigued by the title. I don't know what it's all about. It sounds like it has the potential to be very cute. So let's go ahead and do a tally. That's 15 books for $5. What does that mean? So like I kind of want to do the math now. So it's about 33 cents a book. That's what that comes out to. So that is like really cool. And then the final 2 books I picked up were not in the warehouse, so they were not able to go in the bag. And the funny thing is these 2 books were about $3 a piece, so which is still a really cheap book, but it's just funny that I got 2 books for more than the price of those 15 books. Anyways, so the first one is The Antelope in the Living Room. It's the real story of 2 people sharing one life, a memoir. And it's about basically what it's like to be married to somebody, sharing a life with somebody. So I thought this sounded like a really good, interesting, like relatable story for me. I've been wanting to kind of read more books about motherhood, marriage, raising boys, that kind of thing. So this is the start to that collection. And finally, this was probably one of those like silly novelty buys. I never buy cookbooks because you can look everything up online, but I just had to. I had to get this. It's called the Mac and Cheese Cookbook. Yeah, it just has all these like really interesting ways to make macaroni and cheese. And they have like recipes on how to make your own macaroni sauces. And like they're like gourmet mac and cheese recipes in here, so I'm really excited to try some of these. Choosing beers and wines to pair with your macaroni and cheese. So I thought that was like so cool. And look, this book is so new. Obviously someone had gotten it for a gift and didn't even pull the rest of the wrapping paper off. I think I'm gonna leave it there because that's just really funny. That is 17 books for like $12 and some change. So it's about $1.40 a book. That is so exciting. I love when I get really cheap books. That wraps up this thrifted roundup. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.